There are few more important voices in grassroots women's cycling right now than Dame Sarah Storey. The 42-year-old's dual sporting career is the stuff of legend. But as she gears up for a staggering 7th Paralympic Games in Tokyo next year, Storey continues to play a major role in shaping the future of Britain's young riders. While best known for her exploits on the track, the Mancunian has had a long career on the road, and now much of her attention is devoted to helping junior talent through her Storey racing squad, as inCycle found out when we met up with the team last summer.
Storey Racing has been going now for around about 6 years, but in the current format for 3 years. We started by setting up a team at the end of 2013, and we wanted to give me a platform to race after the Games in London. I'd won 4 gold medals there, and we needed a little bit more control over my race programme than I had had. So we set up the team and we brought together a group of very talented women, and that's where we sort of set the ball rolling, and each year we've had a new set or added to, and people have moved on, and yeah, I can't remember how many riders we've worked with over the last 6 years, but it's probably getting close to 60 or 70 riders.
With the help of her husband Barney, Storey manages a team primarily racing at the top level in the UK. It comes after several years yo-yoing between domestic and international tiers.
Storey Racing has evolved and ebbed and flowed across the last few years, and we've had 2 seasons where we were a UCI team. One of those seasons was last year, and one of the challenges as a team, a small team anyway, is the value for money of paying that registration to be a UCI team, only to find out you can't get into any of the races. And because the coverage of those races is very much focused around a highlights package, if you're not in the front of the race, you're not getting on the television either. So value for money is very, very poor. So we decided to take a step back from being a UCI team, and we decided to open our doors to junior riders, something we hadn't done before. For women, there's no under 23 category internationally like there is for the men, so it is a really big jump up for some of the juniors to go from, you know, junior races of maybe 60 to 80 kilometres into that senior peloton, where now we're seeing stages and races of at least 140, and in the recent women's tour, 160.
Britain's most successful Paralympian, Storey is an exemplary sporting role model. Her first 5 Paralympic gold medals came in swimming, before turning her attention to cycling in 2005. Her aerobic abilities have since helped her to a further 9 golds on the track. As probably the most recognisable figure at British National Series races, unsurprisingly, those up-and-coming riders know who to go to for tips.
For me as a senior rider, I sometimes find myself helping people in the peloton, especially if it seems obvious that they're not technically aware of something that would make their race easier. That can happen quite often in a breakaway. Riders who've only ever raced on the left-hand side of the road, some of them will really struggle when the roads are completely closed and they can use both sides. They'll stay on the left-hand side. Junior riders need to understand tactics. They need to understand the different ways of communicating in a bunch. We don't have race radios at this level, so it's a really valuable learning curve, and I think mixing senior riders with those junior riders, it just brings them on in a different way.
As Storey continues to prepare for further medal challenges at Tokyo in 2021, she's as determined to see greater investment in women's cycling. From her experience as a team manager fighting to attract sponsorship, there's a couple of areas in particular she would like to see change.
Television coverage in women's cycling is a big issue. When we turn on, TV channels, we can see any number of men's races, reruns of men's races, and it's the finance for the organiser of putting on those races in the first place. I think maybe the UCI have to delve into their very deep pockets and look to maybe support and bolster the financial package a race has in order to allow them to be able to broadcast. And until people are on television live, it's very difficult for a sponsor to kind of really garnish their return on investment. And obviously in the UK, we don't have a huge amount on television live. So when we do, we try and be there. And that again is down to finance, but we're a free to view event, and it's not like a football match, a rugby match, cricket match. There's no ticket on the door to come and watch these races. You can stand roadside and see the best athletes in the world flash past, and it's not cost you a penny. So I think perhaps that's one of the unique selling points that we need to perhaps push a little bit more.
While there's much Storey would like to see improved, she's also keen to emphasise the positive points she finds from racing at domestic level. While it still gives her the hard kilometres needed to prepare for Tokyo, it's the hard work of so many others around her that continues to provide this sporting legend inspiration.
Although there are a lot of things that are really challenging about racing at this level, it's really a very positive place to be. I think it's very easy to get bogged down by the financials of a situation, of the fact that it is run by volunteers, but then isn't all sport a little bit like that at national level? You're striving to kind of make it, whatever that means. So yeah, we can talk all day about what we'd like to see from a financial and commercial perspective, but actually what we've got is something that gives athletes that ground to be nurtured and to really move on and up in the world.